Welcome to Momentum, a motorsports podcast powered by High Gear Success. I'm your host, Heather Wilson Schiltz. Here we share the stories and strategies that keep the world of motorsports moving forward. And my guest today is Ian Gaines, a professional Sportbike Freestyle rider. So thank you for joining me.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So you have been doing this for a long time. Do you even remember when you first started doing freestyle?
I started doing freestyle in 2007, around there. I started because that's kind of when it hit our globe here in the States. I started on complete accident. I played football for a long time. I played in college, and then I got released and from playing above that level, next level, right? And I went home, went back to Nashville, and there were some guys doing what I do now in the stunt in the parking lot, like just across from the training facility. And I was like, well, I got no job. I'm bored. Like, I'm bummed. You know, my life dream is over. You know, when I saw that, so I went over there and I sat and watched them ride forever. And then I was like, I need to do that. I had a bike already. And so I went out there and attempted it. And many accidents and broken bikes and body parts later, I kind of figured it out. So, yeah.
So you mentioned that you had a bike before that. Were you just kind of like a casual street rider? Where did you get that itch from?
I started, so my first vehicle in life was a motorcycle. I was a young kid playing football, and I played early on varsity as a young kid. I think it was my freshman or sophomore year in high school. So at being 14, 15 years old, there's no senior, no junior talking to me because I'm too young and I'm playing up, you know. So I decided I needed a motorcycle because I can't drive a car at 14, 15, but I can ride a bike at 15. So I got a motorcycle and I took myself to and fro to practice and school. Then it became kind of addiction, and then it blossomed into riding all the time. By the time I was a junior or senior in high school, I had a motorcycle, 600cc bike, and then it just compounded and started over and over again. And then by the time I got to college, I still had a bike, but my coach was not about it. He had recruited me, and he's like, look, you can't ride that bike. And I was like, but I need to. And so we had a deal where I could ride it during the summer. And that's really it. But yeah, I've been riding bikes casually, I guess you would say. That's what I started as. But to me, it was passion. But no, it wasn't racing, though I should have been, you know. So.
Isn't that so interesting, though, that you can get your motorcycle temps? You know, you can have your temps when you're 15, depending on the state or whatever. In Ohio, it's 15 and a half. You can get your temps. And you can ride alone to wherever you need to go. You can't ride at night. There's some restrictions.
Right.
But like you said, if you were getting your car driving license, you would have to have a parent in the car until you turn 16. But let's just turn them loose on the motorcycle.
Just sit them on a bike. No big deal. Just have them exposed to the traffic. Like, just, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of wild. My brother was actually the same way. So he got his motorcycle temps and license when he, probably when he was 15 and a half or something, but he didn't end up even getting his car license till he was like 17 and a half. He just didn't even see the reason that he needed to.
You don't need it.
So, yeah.
Cars are confining. You don't need that. Like, bikes are way better. I mean, cars you need when you have stuff, but bikes, way better.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of walk us through a typical week of training or travel or what your schedule looks like. I know we were talking a little bit before this call that you've kind of taken a little bit of a pause this year, a little bit of a reset, but what's that typical week like for you?
I mean, for me now, since my life is different than it used to be, I used to be one man, one bike, you know, out there doing my thing. And then now I have a whole family, riders, you know, wife's important to me, you know, and then you know, this job's great. So I changed it. So I wake up in the morning. We have a 1.5-year-old son. So that's another thing I have to do. But in the morning, I'll do all my stuff I need for my body. So everything I got to do, getting my body ready to go for the day, all my routines. I've actually developed a new training program that I do that I can do from home. That is probably the worst I've ever done in my life. It's the one where I say, please let me get out of here. But I'm by myself at home. So it's kind of embarrassing. But I do that. I train, I get my food in, and then I start my business day where all the calls I need to make and get those done. And then it's out to make sure all the bikes are ready to go. And then I'll hit a practice. And I spend time about 2.5, 3 hours a day where I'll practice. And then I come home, and then that guy dies for a second. I come home and do my husband, dad thing. And then it's kind of back to the grind of doing social media, you know, doing all the stuff, doing the content development, you know, for me, scheduling photo and video shoots that I do privately on my own. And also filling the ones that come in, you know, from places. I just left Portland not too long ago with a film with CF Moto. That was awesome. That's probably one of the best shoots I've done with Rally Studios. They did a great job. So did that. That's kind of my deal. It's wake up, eat, call, text, emails, and then it's garage stuff, and then it's back to studio stuff, and then whatever comes my way, I kind of feel it. So, but training has kept me in this industry for this long, in my opinion. Challenge my body and get up in the morning every day, and what I call and what I've heard eating the frog, like doing the worst thing I could possibly do, get it out of the way, get my body ready to go so it can sustain the pounding and the beating of traveling. Driving's harder than we think. And then hitting the ground always hard. So my body has been able to sustain this through time with training. So it's important.
Talk about how the fitness kind of plays into what you're doing, because I would imagine you need a lot of muscle to kind of be able to finesse the bike in the way that you want.
Yeah, it's huge. And because everybody in stunt riding has a different style, like there's a lot of guys that are, I don't know, like for me, I sit around 220 pounds, which is light for me. And there's guys that ride at 150, 160, and they can still do some phenomenal stuff. But my style is really aggressive. I'm always under the revs. Inertia is always an issue, and so having muscle mass and having rigidity and strength is really important for me with my style, because the bike is always under power. I don't ever really ride like on idle. I'm always like underpowered. The bike's always pulling. I'm always fighting physics. So for me, it's really important. A core strength is the most important for me. That's balance and that's stability, and that's your recoil and catching yourself, because it looks like we're standing still, but we're falling a lot. The whole time, even when we're up, we're still, but to me, fitness is huge. It is what I hang my hat on, and I can definitely see a difference in my game when I take some time off from the gym or training like I should, or I'm not as flexible as I want to be. I can definitely see a difference in how I perform. My reflexes are slower. And that stuff's important. It just is.
You also talked about being in the garage and making sure everything's maintained. I would assume, obviously, safety's at the forefront, but then just making sure that everything's in good working order the way you want it to be.
Yeah, safety is important. I mean, when we started this whole thing of stunt riding, when I started, bikes were just, you needed a motorcycle, but it may not work right. It may not have all the right stuff, and you learn to ride on a bike that's lesser. Brakes may be an issue. Your suspension could be you may not have a seat, but you're going to get it eventually. That's how this started. But now it's really big for me to have what I need, because when someone calls and says, "Hey, can you come?" I need to be able to go. I need to make sure the bike can get there. I can get there, and that's the most important thing. So I do a lot of work on the bikes to make sure they're ready. And then I learned over the years that setup is key. A lot of guys ride a bike, but if it's set up exactly for me, I can just sit down and ride it. I don't have to feel it out and get used to it. It's like, oh, I already know this. So I spend a lot of time on millimeters and distances and heights for my bike, so that if I close my eyes and I sit on it, it's the same bike every time. No matter if it's a different motorcycle, they all feel the same. My hand controls are the same. My foot placement's the same. Everything is exactly where I'd like it, so that I can do it in my sleep if I needed to. So that's why I spend so much time there. And I change it. It evolves. Like this year, it's evolved some. I have injuries, and so my wrists and shoulders don't move the same. So I have to change how I sit so I can perform the same and not put pressure and stress and all that. So it's a lot. It doesn't seem like it should be, but that measurement and that stuff is a big deal.
I feel like any industry that you get into, to the person that's watching, it doesn't look like a lot, but there's obviously a lot of things that go in behind the scenes.
There's so much, yeah. I've learned that.
Yeah. When you're taking a bike, are you buying a stock bike and are you making adjustments and outfitting it to fit you, or are you kind of starting with something that's already a little bit customized?
I mean, it's always a stock bike. I mean, 0 miles if possible. Like if I feel, a loose hair, I'll go and I'll get a brand new bike. I used to get bikes from factories, and I got some bikes as of recently. I got a KTM Duke from what is now Family Power Sports Alamo. We worked a deal with KTM and got that. I like that bike. It's aggressive. But but it was bone stock when I got it. And most of my bikes have been bone stock, just like you buy it off the showroom floor. And then we dive in, we rip off stuff to make it a little bit lighter. And we add stuff to kind of compensate for what it doesn't have when it comes to like a sprocket. Anyone can wheelie a bike with stock sprockets, but having an oversized sprocket makes us to where we can do it now. Especially with, for me, show areas are, I don't know, 50 feet by 100 at the longest. And so you take a bike like a 636 and it performs. It's made to stretch its legs, and it wants to, but you can't let it. So you want to have like a sprocket so you can be able to control it that way. But do that, and then we change some braking. We increase the braking response. We change the brake lines, which I think everybody should anyway. If you're going to ride your bike, we add some rotors, oversized rotors in some spots, and we just kind of tweak it that way. It ends up being about I don't know, if you do it low ball like poor boy, it's still like a $5,000 investment to get it to where you should have it. You don't have to, but it takes some time and tweaking. Yeah, for sure.
How many bikes do you have in your garage currently?
Oh, God, don't do that. so, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think like 12 right now. I'm trying to, it's low end. I got rid of like 4. So
do you ride all of those actively, or some of them are just kind of reminders of the past?
No, I got, sadly enough, I got rid of my past. That hurt me because I was like, man, I really need. But then for me, it was in 2000 and I don't know, 17 to 19, I was flying a lot, and so I had bikes out, 3 or 4 bikes out in boxes. I was beating them, so those are for that. And then now it's bikes to make sure that when my number's called, that I'm ready. Because we know there's gremlins in the garage. I don't care if you believe it or not. And you can think it's perfectly fine, and you go out there and you're like, what? No, what happened to it? Okay, so that I can easily switch to another unit and relieve the stress of worrying about, I don't have it ready. I can just go, okay, I'm going to fix you later. You're a problem, and then I'm going to go and do that. So, but most of mine are active. I have some bikes that I have for memories, and I have one want to bike that I'm building right now. It's like a dream thing. I want to build. I want to like get it to be an aggressive unit. It's still a stunt bike, but it's an overkill bike. So that's one that I have that is not all the way like I want it. So I would count that as a not active. But yeah, I'm riding.
How do you select the bike that you're going to use for a specific show? Is it based off the stunts that you're going to do, or just kind of what you're feeling that day?
I mean, usually if I can pick, it's usually, okay, so someone will send me their address to their dealer, and I'll check it out. This is long before we even close the contract, right? And then I'll be like, okay, cool. I'll check it. I'll go straight to Google Earth, which is my best friend in the world, and I'll get a layout of their plot. And I'll say, whoa, you don't have any room. We have tons of room. So if there's no room for me, and right now, thankfully I have no affiliation with brands. I mean, that could change, but right now I don't. So it's nice where I can just choose what bike I'm comfortable with in a small space or in a slippery area. Like I have a Kawasaki Z650 that I call my Swiss Army knife. Like if it's a big area or small area, we can get it done anywhere because of how the motor platform is. It's a parallel twin. It has a lot of torque, not a lot of revs. That stuff's great. So that's the bike I choose mainly for that. But it'll be on space.
Did you know a lot about the kind of the science and the technology behind the bikes, or is it just something that you've kind of learned to feel over the years?
Man, feel over the years. I knew what a bike was. I rode it, and even into my first couple of years as a professional, I just rode, and then as I had to ride more and did more shows, and I'm riding day after day, and I'm riding blind. I call it, like I get off a plane, jump on a bike and ride. Like when I started doing that, I realized some of the small technical stuff, some of the engineering, some of the tricks, weather became an issue. Like I didn't realize that, okay, that can change how my bike operates or altitude, how my brakes respond. Like I didn't think about that until, I'm literally rolling a roller to the show and like, okay, so over the years I've learned, and thankfully at this point I understand most of it, and I'm still learning, because like I said, if you're not learning, it's over, you're dead. So I want to keep learning more.
Are there any go-to stunts that you like to perform during the shows? And because I'm a little bit unfamiliar with that world, do the different stunts have very specific names? Like, is there a set in the industry?
Every stunt has a name. They've gotten them over time. For me, I like to say that I'm a show pony, by trade. There's guys out there that are super, super technical riders, and they're really good. And I'm a technician, but in small spaces and proximity. I can do everything I can do right in front of you, right there every time. And my main goal every show is to not show you how good of a rider I am, but to entertain you. So if you leave with a smile, right? If you had the best time of your life from one of the shows, that's my goal. Because it's not my goal to say I'm the best in the world. Okay. But it's more important for me to see you or the 6-year-old kid or the 12-year-old kid who doesn't have a bike yet, who may be inspired by the show. I want all of you guys to have a really, really good time. And so I'll go to the simple parlor tricks. I'd always do stoppies. I'm always going to do a drift and a burnout. I'm going to do a few acros. I'll do a churro. I'll do a Christ, which is the most simple of all tricks in the world, but it's one of our first. I'll do that because anybody, if I'm on a bike and my feet are on the tank, that's what is going on. So I start with that usually. And then I go into some more technical stuff as the show goes on when they get comfortable with it and they feel they can inch closer to the barricades. Then I'll get more technical. But I'm always going to do a wheelie, toppy, get the back tire spinning, always going to drift, and I'm going to throw some macros, and I'm going to, in all that, I'm going to interact with you. Like my helmet shield is down if it's a show where I'm like, I want to be that guy. But other than that, it's up, and I'm looking directly at you because I want you to feel, the show. Like I believe in kind of if you can hear it, feel it, taste it, smell it, right? Then I've given you a really good show. And so whatever that takes, we're going to get it done.
I love that. You mentioned, is it acros with an A?
Acros,
is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Explain that.
Acros are tricks you do. They're not wheelies, they're not stoppies. You're standing on the bike, you're sitting somewhere weird, the bike's operating on 2 wheels and you're jumping around, you're sliding behind it, you're standing up. It's an acrobatic trick. Which is just, it's not that hard. Well, it's harder than you think, but it isn't. I take that back.
Don't try that at home, basically.
Yeah, don't. It's harder than you think, but it isn't one of those tricks that stunt riders like to say, I don't know how to even explain it. Like a lot of the young guys are like, I do this and that and this trick and that trick. Like, yeah, but have you ever tried this? And they can't do it because I think it's kind of an old school thing. And I think the guys who can do it in the new school are elevated because you got to be able to balance. You got to know your bike. You got to be able to steer without your hands or use your feet to steer or no hand, so.
A little bit less defined maybe.
Well, there's trick names. You have churros and Christ and headstands and side skitching and you have surfing. You have tons of names. But I think because there is no bailout, like if you're doing a wheelie, you can save yourself with the clutch and the brake and make it not as bad. If you wreck an acro, that's it. Like there's no, and maybe that's why people don't do them as much because there's no bail. It's like, that's it. Like when you wreck it, your foot's going into the wheel. That's really it. So maybe that's why not a lot of kids do it. I say kids because I'm, 77,000.
You talked about putting on a good show. Do you have a favorite event or venue that you performed at throughout the year?
Man, I would say my most fun has been unaffiliated with dealers, right? Has been the small bore when they were at Barber Motorsports Park. That was my most fun venue because the people there are great. The guys in Man in the Box are really chill. They're my guys. A lot of my sponsors end up there. And it's at Barber Motorsports Museum Park. Like it's the most beautiful place on the planet. It's like the Disneyland of motorcycles.
That's on my bucket list. We were supposed to go this year, but alas, another year that we have not gone. So I keep saying next year.
I'm telling you, and I'm going to tell you now, do not go there expecting to get through everything you want to get through in an afternoon. You have to say, okay, at least give yourself 2 days at the museum because it's 5 levels and there's bikes every couple of feet and they go through the history of motorcycles. They go through the brands. Don't speed through it, but you go. Telling you.
Yeah, I definitely have to make more of an effort to make it there.
Yeah, you should. I mean, it's one of those things like I didn't care to go until I went for a show. And then I said, I'll go to the museum. And I was like, I walked in and whispered for no reason. Like I started whispering, like, oh, this is amazing. Like there's no sign that said don't talk, but it felt like I was in a hallowed hall where I should be quiet and be respectful. So definitely should go.
Are there key differences between performing for a live audience versus filming for social media content?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because social media content is the new thing, right? And you can make a mistake and you can fix it. You can redo a shot. You know, you can say, "Oh, I didn't like how that was. I didn't look my best." Excuse me. But in a live audience, you have to do it right then, and you have to. If you don't do it right, you have to make it look like you did. And you know, and it's like for me, I mean, it's like I broke my legs the Javison in 2015, both legs. First show of a four day show, the first day, second show, and I rode all the way through Sunday with my
My
legs broken,
goodness.
and no one knew they were broken. And though my teammates did, I knew, of course I knew, and my wife knew. She's out trying to find me stuff so I can walk, like 2 sticks to walk around. But I broke my fibulas and I didn't change my show. I didn't change what I did. I just grunted it out because that's the show, you know? And some people, they took that Saturday off just to come there. And in their mind, they want to see the stunt show. And as little as that seems, to me, it's a really big deal. And so if a guy who worked an extra couple of shifts the week before to get up on Saturday is coming to watch the show, I'm probably going to ride, you know, because he's sacrificed. So I might as well sacrifice too. So that's kind of what drove me to do it.
That's crazy. Did you go to the hospital like after that wreck
When I got
and you
home,
found out? Oh, you
oh,
just waited it
I,
out.
I found out the next morning. So I took a shower and I'm getting out and I'm you know, and then so I turned the shower curtain and my legs go. I was like, oh yeah, those are broken. I heard crepitus as soon as I
Oh
was
my
like, man,
gosh.
that's gonna be a long day today. And so I wobbled down to the lobby and told them, I was like, hey guys, my legs are broken. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah. Like, what are you gonna do? I was like, same thing I was gonna do yesterday. I was gonna rip. You know, if they give out, they're already broken. So what's gonna happen? So they sustained, you know, and there was a couple of times where my helmet shield was down because my
Yeah.
eyes were doing
Little
stuff
tears
like,
streaming down your face.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, I don't
ah.
want everybody to see me cry. But yeah, I just kind of grunted it out, man. I was thinking 3 or 4 shows a day. Autograph signing when they put us on stools and my legs were just hanging, just
Oh
swelling
my
up as I'm
gosh.
sitting. I'm like, hey, what's your name? Is it okay? And my legs just, but we got through it. I can walk kind of sort of today. So it's good.
How has working with brands or sponsors shaped your career? And for those that are in the industry or coming up in the industry, how do they stand out to potential partners?
Working with brands has taught me how the industry views the ride. It's taught me how to present myself, not in a way that I want. I'm not throwing tricks, right? But in a more favorable manner, so that I can do what I want to do. It's taught me what people really think about stunt riders, and it's put me on a mission to break the stereotype. So working with brands has taught me about sales, about marketing, and about how important it is to pay attention to those things when you're even stunt riding. Like a wheelie is important, but what is expressed through that wheelie is way more important than the trick. And it's not always how you feel that moment. It's like, okay, well, I can wheelie and I can do these tricks to this level because EBC allows me to have the greatest brakes I've ever had. You know, or I can say that because these Dunlop tires are always hook. That's a story, you know, and it's the truth. It's learning how to convey or articulate what the bike does and why it does what it does. It's not always because of me. It's those brands that help me, and those brands are around because they make stuff for bikes. And then for me, I've been with Icon Motorsports for I can't even count, and they've had my back forever. And every wreck I've been down, they've been there, and they've protected me. And that's what I lean to the people. It's like, okay, well, you're riding your bike, that's great, but make sure you're covered, make sure you're riding the right gear for what you do, you know, make sure you're able to express yourself so you're not blaming the helmet. Oh, it's just black. Okay, there's plenty of graphics. I mean, there's tons of graphics behind me. And it's I think working with brands like that and being in house, being in some meetings, hearing some of the conversations they have had, let me understand what the industry is looking for and what brands need out of their riders. And I'm not doing it so that I can make more money as a rider, because there's not a ton of money to be made all the time. But I am doing it to be the best representative of their brand that I can be. So that's important, more important to me than a couple of dollars, because you can make money anywhere.
When it comes to sponsorship, I think people really have to shift their mindset that it's no longer just putting a logo on something anymore. It really is being a brand ambassador and being involved in being in those conversations, like you said, to really be like a partner to these companies. It's not just they're giving you money out of the kindness of their heart. They want to have that valuable data and feedback from you.
Yeah. And everything requires, if you're a rider and you're asking somebody, give me money. Okay. You can do that, man. And they will pay you for your thing, but make sure you're focusing on what an ROI is. And then you have to facilitate the return on investment. So what are you going to do to make their experience and their investment in your career better? So, okay, well, they gave me X amount of dollars, and you should also have boundaries. You should have like, look, I can't do more than you're paying for, but I can give you everything for what you gave. Or if you want to go more, sure. But you have to make sure you're saying, okay, this company is believing in me. I need to make sure I represent them. I need to make sure they're part of my identity, that no matter where I go, if I'm on a bike or not, everyone knows that that's one of my brands. So that's important. I think a lot of stunt riders in my industry don't get it. But I try to have that fireside chat every chance I get. Like, guys, I have a thing that I always tell people, and it's not a secret, but I hang my hat on it. It's like, it's 10% the ride. It's not a secret, but I'm going to give it to you guys. It's 10% the ride. Like, you think the company is interested in how great you are riding, but really they're more concerned with how you deliver yourself and how you make the riding look and who's interested in you and why. For me, it's evolved and changed. Now it's senior rider as opposed to the young kid around the corner. Like, it's the dad that still wants to believe or know that he can. And, it's the guy that's been riding that said, okay, well, my wife said, did she say you couldn't ride, or do you feel that pressure? I do a lot of speaking to men all the time about just man stuff, but also like, guys, like, once you lose that part of you, you're going to change, and she liked and they liked and we liked that guy. So don't lose that guy, just modify it, So, but anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Well, speaking of dad life, I saw an Instagram post where you talked about managing family life and career responsibilities. So can you kind of talk more about that?
Like I was talking about, being one man in a van and a bike, like, that's no responsibility whatsoever. You just, hey, Ian, can you? Sure. And now someone says, hey, Ian, can you come, like, my shooting, can you come to Portland for 8 days? I'm like, oh God, okay. I'm automatically thinking like, okay, I need to make sure, so it's all the dad responsibilities that you have to do. It's important that you're there. You can't, you have a partnership, with my wife, we have a partnership. It's not like, it's like, I'm here to do things, and she's here to do things. And if one of us leaves, we have to make sure the other one is in the position to do the things we would do. And then with kids, like, it hurts my heart deeply for my friends that say like, oh yeah, my dad was a good dad. Okay, cool. But he was never there. Well, how do you know? And to me, I don't want to be the dad that's not there. I want to be the dad that is doing the really fun job, but somehow you always saw him. That's what I want to be. And that's the charge of mine, is to like, well, I'll take you with me then. Like, my son wants to go to my show Wednesday. He's like, can I go? I'm like, maybe. Come on, let's go. You know how to set up. You know how to tear down. You know the prices of all the T-shirts. You know when I say, hey, man, can you give me a 10 mil, 8 mil, 12 mil, 14 mil? You can do it. So, yeah, I mean, you're only 8, but you can roll. You're homeschooled, so cool, no problem.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I think that's great. I mean, growing up in the motorcycle industry myself, my parents had an off-road dealership and my dad raced off-road. And so I was living that lifestyle too. And when I think about my love of motorcycling, yeah, I love to ride, but really it was spending time with family. That's how we spent time as a family.
It is, like, for me, I told my wife, my son's dancing now more than ever. He got his NFL paycheck now. I don't have one anymore. So he has one. I'm not. We're not going to talk about that. Soft spot. But we were racing like every weekend. And we were doing the Loretta Lynn's chase, and we finished our chase like this year. My kids missed it by a little bit. But one of our fondest memories is when they were brand new riders, and we're at one of our, what I call our home tracks, Freestone, Raceway here in Freestone County, one of the hardest national tracks, I'd say. And it's got crazy history. It's like, I tell everyone, you're here. This is pre-Civil War dirt, like 1800s and earlies. This was here, this ranch, this dirt. And so best memory is I have a picture of it, the van set up, the camping area is set up, our tents are set up, and we got our food set up. And then I just stepped back and took a photo, and it's just our kids just having fun on the grass in the middle of the field somewhere. And we're close as a family together. We watched a movie outside the van, just like, it was fun. And I'm sorry to go off on that, but when you said that, it just took me like, man.
It all relates. I mean, motorcycling, yes, it's about the riding and the sports, but it's also about the family and the friends and the community 100%. Aspect of it. And then you guys have a YouTube channel called the Gainesters.
We are the Gainesters. Yeah,
the Gainesters. I love that play on your last name.
My son came up with it at the dinner table because he was like at school. I'm like, yeah, we have it. He's like, you know what we are? I was like, yeah, we're us, man. Like, what? He's like, we're the Gainesters. I was like, that's cool. We're gonna roll with that.
Yeah.
And we did it, and now it's kind of our thing. We have our YouTube channel that we're doing stuff on, and we have our clothing, shirts, and then we kind of put some stuff out. But I don't know, it's fun. Yeah, we're the Gainesters.
I saw on your channel that your son Zion got to participate in the KTM Junior Supercross Challenge.
Yeah, this year. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was that experience like as a family?
It was absolutely crazy, but fun because he has all these dreams, and we try to facilitate everybody's dreams. My daughter's, mine, my wife's, like, we try to do that because that's important. And he wanted to do the KTM Junior Challenge. We submitted the year before, he didn't make it. And then we submitted the second year and he made it. And we got the phone call like, wait, what? And we were like, well, hope we get Dallas. And then we didn't get it, AT&T Stadium. And then we said, we're glad we did because now we get to travel in, fly in. You get to be a Supercross rider for a day. That experience is unreal. Like, those kids get bikes. They get gear. They have their own mechanics. They have their own pit. They have practice times. They go out to the track and practice. And they have a real race. Like, he was a Supercross rider for 2 days. It was pretty awesome, man. Like, he got to meet all of our friends are there anyway. Like, Aaron Plessinger's there. He's a good friend of mine. And Ty Masterpool's a good friend. We actually ride at his facility here. So, but it was just cool to be riding his motorcycle in front of 40,000 people. This little tiny bike, like it was just cool. It was super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that program is so cool, and it's been running for a very, very long time. I think it was 20 years this year for them.
It was 20 years this year, and they got some help, from KTM and Wells Fargo partnered with them, and Ford partnered with them this year. I don't know who's for next year, but it really made the experience. I think their setup was better than the pro guys. Chad Reed was in our tent. Why are you in here, bro? If there's so much for you to do out there, why are you in here? You have no racer here. But he was in there, so it must be that nice.
Very cool. So looking ahead, what's next for you? Are there any projects or new directions that you're excited about?
I mean, I have one that I'm really excited about that I can't really say what it is yet, but I'm excited about it. And I hope, I'm praying, and not because I want to, not for credibility, not for credentials, but because I want to give back to the industry, and not necessarily like, here's $1 million or here's a program. No, I want to be able to help new brands further themselves and give them the tricks that I've learned so that they can do it. So that is one, but for me, it's going to be the same. I'm going to still try to pound the pavement because I think that the face-to-face and the conversations are huge, but I am evolving to where it is a lot of camera, a lot of things like this. A lot of, like, for Leo Vinci, I do their most popular brands on their YouTube. I do that. I just finished that, and I'm taking it seriously. I mean, so that's harder than writing because I remember when I went to Portland, I had some video due and I need to get it done. and I'm about to leave for almost, over a week. So I went to bed at midnight, and then I woke up at 3 to record, I think 3 or 4 exhausts in the home studio, to then just take off my Leo shirt, put on another shirt, and then roll to the airport. And I got to my flight left at like 6. So I'm there just like zombie in it, and I slept all the way to Portland, and then I had a whole day off before I shot. But it's that the setup is the same and the drive is the same, but sometimes the job is different, and I like that, because that means that I can improve another part of my game. So the next year is going to be all bikes and a lot of voice. And I like that. So it should be a good year. It should be a really good year. You stay tuned. And if I'm not doing it, call me and say, hey, man, I thought it was going to be more voice. You're right.
All right. I'll stay tuned. I'll call you out if I'm not seeing it.
I have no problem with film check. Hey, man, you said you were going to do okay, you're right.
Tell people where they can connect with you online.
You can find me at iangaines.com. That's super simple. That's my name with a com. Instagram, I'm always there, and I do respond to, if you send me a DM and it's appropriate, I'll respond to it. Facebook, I'm still on that thing, so you can message me there. Anywhere you see me, reach out and I'll reach back. It may take me some time because I am traveling, I am flying, I am riding, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to. Once I see it, it's immediate. So if you have a question, if you have something that you want to suggest that you saw, like I said, I'm okay with film checks. So hit me up. Check us out. The Gainesters were on a mission for 26. We were kind of feeling our way through in 25. So if you want to see what we're doing through 26, which will be like motorcycle stuff, of course, it will be all of the studio stuff. It will be the dancing, we're traveling. We're doing great things. So if you want to catch up and keep with our family and see what we're doing, we're trying to keep the motorsport and the cool hit family thing alive. So you can find us on YouTube, The Gainesters. Follow and subscribe for us there, and then check out what we're doing, man.
Well, thank you for joining me, and thanks to everybody for tuning in to Momentum. This has been a production of High Gear Success. If you want to connect or recommend a guest, head to MomentumMotorsportsPodcast.com. Until next time, keep the momentum rolling.